Hi everybody, this is Tina with Rehatch Designs. Hope everybody's doing well. I just thought today I would do a little kind of craft with me. I am trying to finish up a few journals, and I'm just making some things to put in the journal, and I thought maybe you might want to just see what I'm doing and kind of maybe just do a craft along type thing. It's nothing new, but you know, we have a lot of new people that have subscribed, and there's a lot of people out there, I can tell from all the different Facebook groups, that are new to doing junk journals. So, you know, some of this stuff might be new to them. So anyway, to my new subscribers, thank you. I hope that you learn something, you know, when you watch these. Also, go back and look at my other videos, because there's a lot of tutorials out there that kind of address some of the questions that I see. And then there's, of course, a lot of people are doing them, so it's not just me. But I do have a lot out there that I think address a lot of the different questions for new people. But today what I want to do is I kind of want to make these pockets to put in the journals that I'm doing. Right now I am doing, finishing up my boho gypsy journals, and I have 3 of them. So I need to make, you know, quite a bit to put in them. And I have done quite a lot already, but I thought I'd bring you guys along just to see what I'm doing. The different things I'm going to use is, first off, I have this cellophane that I bought, and I actually got this at Christmas time just because I had I was using it for something that I was making. And I got this pack, and it has all these different colors in it, and quite a few colors. I haven't really kind of looked through them all, but, you know, just about, you know, red, blue, green, gold, kind of an amber, a pink, purple. Anyway, I'm going to be using that. And I bought these on Amazon. I couldn't find the exact same link, but I'm thinking it was right around $10. I'm not real sure. I'll see if I can find one like it. I couldn't find the same one. It didn't come up in my purchases. So, also I use, I'm going to use this tissue paper. And I got this stuff, I got it all at the dollar store. So it has some of this gold in it. And this one has silver. This just has some, you know, different patterns on it. And you've got some in turquoise. I also have this and that. The other thing is I might use some, is I have some of my little gold flakes that I may use some of those. I'm not 100% sure on that, so we'll see. But the main thing is I have all these, let me get it all out of here. These are the backs of the napkins when you, you know, pull them apart, the 3rd ply on there. So I kind of want to use these up because I went ahead and made these. And so really that is all this is. And I want to maybe use some of that. And of course, junk mail envelopes with the opening here. Okay, so I have an assortment of different ones of that. So let me put these back in here. Now all of these were used as kind of mop-ups when I was doing different types of you know, things on my gel plate. And that's what I do with those, is I kind of keep a stack of them. And then what I'll do is I'll mop stuff up with them, and then I'll maybe spray. This is sprayed with some shimmer spray, So I mean, I think they turn out cool, but you know, these are just, I think this probably doesn't have shimmer on it. But anyway, that is what these are. So, and I know they're very bright colors, but my journals I'm making are pretty bright colored. So I thought maybe I would use some of those. Anyway, that's kind of what I had in mind. I also have different colors of tissue paper, because you could definitely use that if you want to. And I have a bunch of different colors of rice paper, and I've used that before too. That would definitely work. And I might use some of that with this. But I think for the most part, I'm going to use my napkins, the back of the napkins. And what I did on those is I was using my gel plate, and I just used different distress sprays and stains. Some of them were oxide, some of them were stain, and that's kind of all it did. And then afterwards, I just used some white shimmer on them. I don't think all of them have white shimmer though, and I just sprayed that. And all I do is when you take your napkin apart, the third part of it on there, or the second and third, there's usually 3 layers. I just take those and I have them in a little Ziploc, and I use those to kind of mop up when I'm doing my different gel plates, and then so that's what I get out of them. So that's what I'm going to do today, and it's nothing, you know, super earth-shattering that I'm doing, but I just thought I'd bring you guys along. I might use a little bit of gilding wax too. I'm not positive yet, but I think I might. And, you know, different trims and things like that. So, anyway, the first thing I do is I take my gesso. Let me get my brush that I was using for that. I think it was this one. Yeah. I have 2 different brushes sitting over here. And I just usually, any of the dark spots on my envelope that I'm using, any of the writing, I just take some gesso and go over it. And the reason I do that is just, you know, you don't want that to see through, because it's, you know, it's fairly light, and depending upon, you know, how dark this is, you may have to do a couple of coats of this. And I'm probably not gonna keep this that wide, but I'm gonna go ahead. I don't know for sure what I'm gonna do yet, so go ahead and do that. Do that. This one's been cut kind of short, but I like it this size. So I do that, and I usually end up having to put a couple coats on there, you know, but that's okay. All right, so that's the first thing I do is I paint my envelope so that it won't show through. Get a paper towel here. Anyway, I'm going to put these aside because I've already done a couple, and you know, you let them dry. You may have to do 2 or 3 coats, but usually it's about 2. So I've got a few of them here that I've done, and they're already probably good enough, I think, for what we're going to do. I think I'll do this one first, even though this is still on there. I think that's, you know, it's come out enough that I think we'll be okay. And I think on this one, I'm going to use this purple. And so I am going to leave this cellophane in here for right now, okay? Just because when I put my glue and everything on, it keeps the glue from going through the back and having this stick all together. But we will be taking this out. Now, normally what you do is you're keeping this in there and you're putting your, you know, your pocket in there. But I'm changing this and putting a different color in there. So, and that's just to kind of give it a different look. I mean, you could certainly leave it like that. Okay, this is just white glue that I've watered down. And So I'm going to use that. Where'd my other brush go? And I am going to just kind of go over this. And I'm doing it kind of messy, but anyway. You know, just a coating of it. Clean that up a little bit. Okay. So now I am just going to take this, and it is all wrinkled up, and I like it that way. I don't necessarily want it to be flat and perfect. So I am going to just try and put this on as best I can, and it will overlap the ends, and that's okay. I want that because I'll just go back and cut it, and I don't mind the wrinkles. I'm just going to smush that down on there. Okay, and I will go over it again. So okay, that needs to go up a little bit higher to cover the top. All right, there we go. Okay, so now that that's on there like that, I'm just going to cut around it. And now I'm doing this whole envelope, and I mean, it's taller than what I'm going to need in my journal, but you're going to see what I do with it next, you know, as why I'm leaving it that long. If you want it shorter and you don't want an extra pocket in it, then you can cut it off to the length that you want. Go ahead and put more glue in that spot because it doesn't look like there's any glue right there. There we go. I think that's pretty good. All right. So I am going to just cut around it, or, you know, honestly, what I like to do, I'm going to use my little water pen thing, and you could just use a paintbrush too, because that works. And this works the same as a paintbrush, but it has water in it. And I'm just going to take it and go around the edges. I go a little bit further. And then I'll trim it up again, but this kind of gets it to where I can easily tear that off of there. Okay. The end is right there, so that's good. I'm not going to worry about that. All right, so that way I can just pull off this piece here. And if for some reason you rip it or tear it, not a big deal. Like here I did right here, we can fix that, no big deal. Okay. And the trick really to doing this is to go a little bit further out than what you actually need it, so it doesn't tear this part. Looks like I didn't do enough right here. And just tear it off. And I know it looks kind of rough, but we'll fix it. Okay, so that's kind of roughly, you know, the whole thing. And then right here where our window is, I don't know, you probably can't see through it because I barely can, but I can see the window. If I open this up, see if you can see it better. The window's right here, okay? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my little water pen and I am going to go inside, and I'm actually not going to do it on the line. I'm going to do a little bit past it because it will tear, and I don't want it to tear, you know, and this needs to be glued a little bit more over there. And this will help me tear it around the window. Okay. I do need to put more glue right here. It is not sticking. Okay. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to use it. And again, it's not going to be perfect. I put my thumb down where I don't want it to tear off. and just kind of go around it wherever you put the water. And we'll clean it up later, so it does not have to be perfect now. But anyway. Okay. Now, there are lots of pieces in there that are not perfectly on there, but that's okay. I don't want it to be a perfect square on there, but I can certainly go in and I can make it, you know, neater. And all I do is go in there and put more water, then pull that off. And this is how you go in and make it as neat as you want it. As you just go in and pull off the extra. And if there's some spots in there that are not covered, you can go back in and just put more on top of it, because we're going to cover this up too. A lot of it anyway. Now, I have to make several of these. I don't know how many I'll get done in the video, but they're all going to be pretty much the same process. Okay, so I kind of like that the way it is. I think maybe a little bit more right here. Okay. And we can certainly trim this up more later. I don't necessarily like it to be a straight line all the way across. One, because you can't make it a straight line usually and make it perfect, but I like it to have this kind of feathered look. Okay. Now that we've done that, I'm not going to trim around the edges yet. Okay, I'm not going to do that. Oop, my glue is leaking. I have no idea why. I'm going to put that down for a minute. Might as well use the glue that leaked out. And I'm going to just go over this with my glue. Okay. I have no idea why it's leaking. And this will help glue it on there. And our cellophane's still on there, and I use it, you know, I just go over it. It's not going to matter. And I am going all the way down the bottom. As I said, if you don't want to have the extra pocket that I'm going to put in here, you could just cut this off at the length that you want it. And I'm just kind of putting the glue all over. And I'm being very generous with it, but going soft with my paintbrush. Okay, and there's a few spots there that it looks like it needs a little touch up, and that's where I just take a piece and put it on there. And it doesn't matter to me that it overlaps. I don't care, because I'm going to be cutting that off on the edges anyway. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that off a little bit. My other, this is my gold tissue paper that I have. And I'm not just going to put it over the top. I'm going to take it, let me tear off a piece of this. And if you don't have this exact kind, they have all kinds of stuff like this. Anywhere you can get tissue paper, so whatever you can find. I just like it because for the style that I'm doing, it's really a good look. Okay, here's a thin piece that I did, and I'm just going to put that on the side. And I know that I'm going off of it, but that's okay. I'm going to put a little more glue down there. It's already drying. So I'm just going to be gluing these pieces down. Okay, and I'm just going to randomly put pieces wherever I think they'll look good. I'm not in any kind of big hurry to get all of it. Let me see, that's kind of too big for that spot. Maybe I'll go. And you just kind of put them wherever you think you want them. And that to me looks like enough, so I'm not going to do any more. All right, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and dry this so that we can do it. And then after that, we'll do the next step. Okay, so I will do that. And the big thing when you're doing this, guys, is you want to make sure, I'm not going to use my heat gun. I'm going to use my little dryer thing. And you don't want to go too hot, because what it'll do is it'll melt your cellophane. But on me, it doesn't matter if it does, because I'm going to take it out anyway. So anyway, that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I went ahead and I dried it all. This is pretty much what we're left with. Now what I want to do is I'm going to trim around the outer edge. And I turn it over to do that usually, because then you can see what you're trimming. Okay. Just going to do that. Oops, my other one just fell down. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. I have been super busy. Getting a puppy was not what I intended to do, because we had gone 6 months. We had lost our dogs, like 3 of them in 15 months, because they were all older. And, well, boy, I tell you, she's a terror. I'm not used to that whole puppy running around, tearing things up and all that. So, but she's a lot of fun. And I don't know, we tried not having a dog. I think we've had dogs, I think since, I don't know, forever. I don't remember not having a dog. And it just felt kind of weird not having one. So anyway, let me get this all the way open. It got glued a little bit there. Okay, so I trimmed around the outer edge. Of course, you can go back and do that more. You could take a nail file if you want to later, but it's okay for me if it's not perfect. Now, I didn't do the back of this simply because of the fact I'm going to glue this down to a page. But if you wanted to, you could do the back also and then paper clip it. Okay, now what I'm going to do now is this cellophane, this opening right here, I'm going to take this out. And let me see. Usually you can find an end that comes up on here, and you just kind of pull it gently, and it should come off fairly easily. So it's a little damp on top still, so I'm afraid I'm going to tear the paper. Okay, there we go. And it should just come right off. And I leave it on until this point, just that way you're not messing it up with the glue or anything like that. Again, you don't have to put the different color cellophane in there. I'm just doing it because I have it and it gives it a different look. Okay. Trying not to rip this. It's very wet on top still, so it could rip. So that's my thing. Maybe I should just dry this a little bit more. Okay, now that it's dry, I'm going to go ahead and take the cellophane off the back. Here we go. Let's just go from this end. And you can open up your, I might do that at the top. I might do that just to make it easier. It's up to you. You can certainly glue this back together. Okay, there we go. If it helps. Okay, now get it all the way out. Gives you a little bit more room to work with that. And you can just glue it back in. Okay. This one just was in a little bit better than a lot of them. So you pull it out and, you know, you don't need that anymore. So now you just have an opening in there, okay? So the rest is pretty easy. You just go ahead. Now this is where if you want to trim this up more on the inside, you can. You can go in there and just cut it down. I kind of like this feathered look, but I will cut it a little bit. Just to show you. If you want to do that, you can make it as perfect as you want to make it. So you just go in there and cut it. Not hard to do once you've got that out. So and depending on your opening, you know, you'll have more room. Now, the reason I like it kind of feathered is that then you're not aiming for perfect, and it's a little bit easier to achieve, you know, the look. But I just want to show you that if that is how you want it, if you want to go ahead and make it perfect or go in there, it's really easy to do once that is open. And that's something too, if you want to think about. If you want it to be like perfect, this is a good way to do it. And then you have access to the middle so that you can cut it, okay? Okay, I think that's good enough for now. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I've trimmed around the outer edge, and if that's how I want it, I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm not going to glue this back together yet, but I am going to put my cellophane in there. I don't know what color. I may put blue, I may put gold. Let me just see how it looks. Here's the gold. It's more of a yellow. Let me see. Let me see what the blue looks like. See if I like it better. I know there is a blue. It has a lot of colors in here, but I only needed like 3 pieces, so, but you know how it is when you buy stuff, you have to buy a lot, so. Let's see, I think that's purple. I'm pretty sure there was a blue. It's still purple, pink. I think the blue is back here. There's a lot of different colors. Let me try the blue. Let's see if I like that better. And I think I do like the blue better. Okay. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I am going to basically make a piece just to go in here. So I'm going to kind of measure. I mean, you could use the old one and measure it. I'm making it actually a little bit bigger, so it'll be easier to put in there. So I'm just putting it back to the very edge of this. Okay, and going down a little bit more down here. Right, so that tells me kind of how big it needs to be. And it is bigger than I need it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this. Without cutting the envelope. And that gives me my piece. And I know it's bigger than I need it, but I'm going to go ahead and trim it a little bit before I put it in there. Just because I know it's bigger than I need it. And it doesn't have to be perfect, because guess what, guys? You're not gonna see it, okay? So I'm just cutting a little bit more off so it won't stick out later. And if it does, it's not a big deal. You can just trim it. All right. So now I'm just gonna take, I'm using my 3-in-1 glue because I think it sticks better for this. And I'm just gonna put a bead of glue, and I'm not gonna put it right at the edge. I'm gonna put it right about here. Just so, and not a lot of glue, because I don't want it to smush out and go all over. So I'm going to do the whole inside here. And if you want to, guys, you can open this up at the bottom if it makes it easier, because you can always go back in and glue it. And I sometimes do that just to make it easier. But just glue it in there so you have enough glue. And then the trick is to get this positioned without getting glue all over it, which is sometimes kind of hard. You just slide it in there, okay, and I think that's a good spot, and just basically you put it down. That's it, okay. So that will glue it in. Got one piece of glue right there. So you've replaced the glue, the cellophane that was in there. You can just make sure you smush down all the pieces. The little glue getting over here, we don't want that. All right. So we got it down. If there's any really long pieces, you can go back in and cut them. Maybe I'll use this, it'll reach better. That way, if you're putting a tag in there, it won't get caught in there. That's good. All right, so now what I'm going to do, I'm putting the glue right here, or you could glue it down, either one. Either one will work. Okay, I'm going to glue the top of this back. First off, I need to glue that down, but I'm going to glue the top of this back together. Okay, and you can take it completely apart if you want to, and then put it back together. If it's easier for you to handle and get your cellophane in there, okay? It just depends on how you want to do it. Okay, so at this point, what I do, trim that on the top a little bit more. Trim it up, get it the way you want it to be. This is why I did not cut the length. What I do is I cut this part right here, and I'm going to go ahead and fold it so I know where I want it. I think probably about right there. Oop. Okay, so I'm going to cut on that line, Just going to cut it right here. Okay. So now I have this piece, and I could put it in just like that, glue this right down here, and just have this go in just like that, okay? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue this right here, okay? My opening is going to be here. And remember, I had an opening on top. I could have done it to where my tag, I could have left that opening and glued this down. But I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make it a side opening, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm taking this extra piece that I cut off the bottom, okay? So this is that piece. And I'm going to put it right here. Let's see, how big do I want that? I'm probably going to put it about right, almost right here, just a little bit lower. And then that way I will have another pocket right up in front. And I could have one behind there too if I want. I need to trim that a little bit. It's a little crooked. All right. So I'm just going to take this. Make sure I glue that back together. Glue it down the sides. And I'm going to put it right at the bottom, just a tiny bit lower. There we go. Make sure it's even. And I will sew around this, not over here because that's my opening, but I'll sew here, here, and all the way around here, okay? Not up here though, not on this side. Now, if I were making the opening on top, then I would leave this top part open, okay? But that is what I would do, and then maybe put some trim over here. And then that gives me a pocket behind, a pocket in, one here, and when you sit it down, you could actually have a pocket here, and then a pocket over there. So, anyway, and I probably would put a piece of trim on that or something. Just on the pocket, like maybe right here. And that is what I would do for that one, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and sew that, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I sewed around it, around here, and now I'm going to put just a piece of trim, I think right here. I don't know if I want it to go up or down. I think I want it to go up. Yeah, I think so. And I'm just going to take some glue. And I end up with a pocket, guys, the way that I did this. You're going to have a pocket behind here, a small pocket, and then another pocket right here in front. Okay? And then you have this over here. And if you glue it onto your page, I always like to have maybe a tag on top. So I make it short enough that it'll fit in there to where you can put the tag on top. But, you know, there's so many ways you can do it. So I'm going to do that. And, of course, you know, this, you have to do it to whatever style to your journal that you're doing. I'm personally doing all of this stuff for my gypsy journals. And they're very bright and colorful. They have a lot of gold in it and stuff like that. So it kind of goes with that. I'm going to put that there. Maybe I'll put a couple clips on that just so it'll stay while it's drying, which shouldn't take too long. Anyway, so that is all I'm probably going to do to this. You know, I may trim it up a little bit, and I will probably maybe put some gilding around the edges or something. I think on my other one, I did put a little because I wanted it to look a little bit more vintage. So I think I took, I don't remember which gold I used. I think it was this one. And I just did some around the edges a little bit. Rather than doing like vintage photo, it does a kind of a different look. And if there's any spots you miss, like here, I think on this corner, we could definitely put some there. I don't know why it's not going in there. Maybe just do that. If you want it, it'll hit on the rough spots of your napkin if you want to do that. And I kind of did that because I wanted it to have kind of a old world vintage look to it. So my goal was to do that, and I didn't want to just put vintage photo on it. I wanted it to be a little bit more. And the cool thing is your napkin, because it was, you know, wrinkled up, it hits all the spots on your napkin. So that makes it really fun. Just go around the edges a little bit. And put as much or as little as you want. I'm just really, let me get that off the air. And that is just going to make it look a little bit more shabby. All right, so that's that one. And I want to do some that are a lot different. You know, same idea, but different. Let's try, move some of the stuff out of the way. Let's see. I like this turquoise. Maybe we'll use the silver with that. Okay, so this is another one that I did, and it has a little bit more green and stuff like that on it, and a little bit more turquoise. Again, this is just the you know, second and third ply of the napkin when you use napkins. And it just has, this was really just a mop up. So that's one thing I make sure you do is I keep them close to me, and whenever I'm mopping up, when I'm doing anything, that's what you get. So all right, let's see, what do we have up here as far as what's dry? They're both similar, so I guess I'll just use this one. I don't know. Let's open it and go here. I'll just use that one. Okay, so on this one, I'm probably, I don't know if I'm going to use the pocket. Yeah, I probably will. Okay. Again, we're just going to do the same thing. We're going to take our glue and go over the whole thing. And even though you can tell on this gesso that you can still see a little bit of the writing, it's covered enough that you won't be able to see it. So that's the important thing. Because the napkin is not as see-through as the as maybe the tissue paper. So I guess I'll just put this. Doesn't matter really what I use. So okay, put that on there like that. Oop, I didn't get that corner, so I better get it over there to where it hits that corner. Well, that's okay. I can go back and patch that up. And I like the wrinkles, so I don't really try and get them out. So I'm not not really an objective of mine. You may not like them, so you may want to take them out, but that's up to you. I take the big bulky pieces off of there just to make it easier to work with. You know, just to be able to. Now I have a spot right there that I need to patch, and that's not a big deal. Just go in there and put another piece in. And it will be fine. No biggie. Okay. We've got a few spots that need a little bit more glue. And go back in and make sure they're glued down. And we're going to put glue over the top too, so. But first, I want to get the spots down that I need to, and then I'm going to go back in with my little water pen. Again, you could just use a brush with water. You don't have to use this. And I'm going to go, and I'm hoping you can see that. You probably can't, but I'm hoping you can. The opening's right there. I'm going to go just a little bit below it, not right on it, because usually if you do it right on it, it'll tear it too much. And this is why I don't really like to put the glue on top until I do this part. Because see how it's wet over here? It makes it a lot harder to do. You're better off waiting to do the glue on top and when you're done with this part. So then you're just going to take this off. Get all the pieces off that you want. Put this down, it'll be easier for me to do. And remember, you can always go back and trim, because once you take that first cellophane out, you've got lots of room to maneuver your scissors and get around there. Okay, that's probably good enough for now. All right, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another coat of glue on this, just so that I know it's on there good. And it also allows me to put my next part on pretty easily. All right, there we go. And as I said, I like the wrinkles because the wrinkles will really make it, you know, give it some character later, especially if you put something on top of it. And on this one, I kind of want to do the silver. So I'm going to do, or maybe I'll do, I don't know, let's see what I got. What other choices do I have here? Got this other one. I don't know if I want to use that. That's too much. Yeah, I guess I'll do the silver. Pretty much the same type of paper, it's just silver. And I'm going to do that. And this they had at the dollar store. They carry it all the time because it's just in their general thing. But as I said, I've seen this type of paper in a lot of different places, so it's not necessarily a new thing. And one thing I do think is that the smaller pieces on this look better than the really big. And also, don't be afraid to overlap, you know, because you can cut it off on the edges. So, you know, it works really well to do that. So. right. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to dry it, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so I went ahead and dried it, and I trimmed around the edges. I'm going to go ahead and pull the cellophane out before I trim the inside. I went ahead and opened it up this far. I mean, you could open it up all the way if you want to make it easier. This is enough for me, but it's up to you. And then glue it back together. So we're just going to pull that off. And this one's coming off really easy. Most of them really do, so. Okay, so there's that piece that we pulled out. And so we got kind of rough edges here, so we can just go in there now that we've got that off with our scissors and trim it up a little. And the cool way of doing it, now if you wanted to, you could put clear back in there too. You don't have to. You could even take the same piece and glue it in if you wanted to. But I'm just making it look a little bit more decorative, a little different. The key to making a journal to me personal and special is to do all these little special things. And I heard somebody saying, I don't remember on what group it was or something, but they were saying something about using digitals and things is like paint by numbers, which if all you do is put the digital in there the way it is and not do anything to it and don't make your journal special, there's probably some truth to that. But I think the idea is it's a starting point for people. It gives you a theme. It gives you, colors, whatever. And the trick is to take it and use it and make it your own. And I think that's what makes it look unique. So, and I think it looks good if you make it custom. Because nobody's is going to look alike. And I don't normally see people not do that, so I don't really know why people have that attitude, but most people do make it very custom. So okay, so then we went ahead and cleaned that up on the inside. You can do as much or little as you want, but anyway, so that did that. And then again, I'm going to do the same thing on this. I'm going to go ahead and probably go about right here. I'm just doing that to make sure that I cut straight. All right. All right. Okay, so now I have it open like that because I cut that off. I don't know what color I'm going to use on this. I may use blue again. I don't know if there's green. I don't know if I remember seeing green in there. Let's see. There might be green. I'm not sure. I just don't remember seeing any green. Oh, maybe there is. Oh yeah, there is. Okay. Alright, so I'm going to use green on that one. And I think probably I'm just going to use this as a guide so I can see. I'll probably make it a little bigger than that just to give me a little bit more room to work with. This stuff tears really easy, so okay, there we go. All right, so now I have a piece to go in there, and it will go just right here. I'm just going to lay it right here. my glue around the edges here. Oop. My air conditioner just turned on right when I was doing this, so of course that's gonna cause a problem. So, all right, that's a little bit too long right there. Let me cut that on the edge. All right. So I'm just putting my glue not right up to the edge, just because you don't want it to blob out all over the place. Get that over there. Okay, so now stick that, oh, that's going to be way too big on that side. Cut that off a little bit. All right, so I'm going to put that there. And then I'm just going to turn it over. And that should work perfectly. Okay, so there's our one with the green. And on this one, I'm going to do it a little different. I am going to have it come in, the tag go in this way. So I will go ahead and I'll be sewing down this end and that end. And on this, I have something a little different that I have here. I don't want it quite that big, so don't have a lot of silver trim for some reason. I'm not sure why. And put that right there. I think that'll look good. Okay. So I'm gonna glue this end and the bottom. So this is gonna go right here and then right here. Okay, and then my tag will go up and coming in from here. All right, and then this is going to go, let's see, I don't know if it's cut on the side. Yeah, it is, so I have to glue that. All right, so that is going to be glued shut right there, and then that will go right there. I'm just gonna put some glue here, and I'll be sewing too, so. And I'm gonna put that on the bottom. I mean, you could fold it up and do this same thing, but you know, if I'm decorating it, it's just easier to decorate it the way that I did it than to go and do it separately. So okay, I'm gonna sew around that and I will be right back, and then we'll see how we are on time, and that may be the last one that I do. I don't know if I'll have a chance to do another one, but we shall see. Okay. Okay, so I think we run out of time, so we won't be able to do the other ones, but I will show you what they look like when they're done. This is the one that we did together with the blue, and so basically at this point you make your tag to go in there. And here's the pink one that I had done on my own, and then here is the silver one. So the only thing left that I would do with this maybe is I might, let's see, take a little bit of this gilding wax, and this is just for me because I'm trying to make it look a little bit, just a little bit like it's been around for a little while. So this is for my taste and what I'm doing. I'm going to take that and just kind of hit the wrinkles and stuff that we left in. That's part of the reason of leaving them in, is that when you go over this, that you will have that texture. Of course, you can go around the edges. Okay, so that is it. And so anyway, guys, that is pretty much my take on adding the colored cellophane in there. It looks really cool. And then when you see the tags in there, you'll see that it'll be really fun. And these are bright colors and all, but you know, this, you could certainly just use clear if you wanted to take the tag out. The good thing that does too, like I said, is it allows you to go in and trim up on the inside and make it kind of neat. But anyway, I'm going to make a few more using the other things that I have, and I'll just kind of show you how that looks. But you get the idea of just taking out the original cellophane and putting in whatever colors you want. All right, I'll see you guys next time.